Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. A bunch of interviews, and I do mean a bunch of interviews. Ever since the Season 4 reveal at Summer Game Fest, Nakayama and Matsumoto were interviewed by a fuck ton of people. There are interesting bits in a lot of them, and mostly like some interesting comments from the esports division. But let's read. Okay. Nakayama confirmed there will be no further updates to World Tour mode, but would like to do more with the story. There won't be any further updates to World Tour, but I'd like to keep the content maintained and perhaps convey some other narrative elements. I've, and some people, not just me, speculated that the reason why World Tour is dying is not because we get more characters in the year, but rather an outsourced studio fucking imploding, while other departments also working at a regular pace. Now, if World Tour dying gets us more characters, it would not show up with year 4, because characters take 2 years to make. By the time World Tour died, they would have already planned the year 4 characters. They said Tifa was planned since 2023, and the implosion happened June 2024. So characters take a long time to make, and the result of World Tour dying would not show up on year 4. Like, it would not show up immediately. More story stuff. Hopefully, obviously more, but hopefully higher quality stories. Like, you don't want Alex. You don't want Bison reviving again. You don't want, not Bison. I'm okay with Bison if he's on a horse in the middle of nowhere forever, but he randomly just shows up in the desert to be a playable character in a future Street Fighter game. I object to Shadaloo being revived. Fuck that. Keep that shit dead. Really happy about the positive response to the new character Yasmin. The team is open to more guest characters from different genres in the future. We haven't decided on anything specific yet, but if a character is a good fit for a fighting game, meaning they translate well to that style of fighting, then there's definitely a strong possibility. In my opinion, right? Like, obviously, like, fan favorites that have not seen a single game in decades should have a little bit more priority in some of the DLC discussions. But honestly, at this point in time, fuck it. Anyone's more important than the fucking Street Fighter 2 characters again. Next Street Fighter game, which is not a thing in the next couple of years, like, kill all the Shadaloos, man. Like, no one cares. Like, gut the Street Fighter 2 roster, man. The dick riding of Street Fighter 2 needs to die. Like, I'm not a Sonic fan anymore. I used to be, but I'm not a big fan of Sonic, but like, at least they fucking respect the ratio of characters that hop in their crossover titles. Hold on, let me boot up the Crossworld roster. The game is called Crossworlds because there are crossover characters. The Sonic characters themselves are like very well spread out, very well balanced. It's not just like, okay, let's put every fucking Sonic Adventure in like Mega Drive character, and then like anything else gets like a crumb, which is what Capcom did with Street Fighter 2 versus any other Street Fighter game. No, it's well spread out. So you have like almost every era of Sonic. I think the only ones missing are a character from Rush 2 and the storybook games, I think. Well, I guess shitty ass Forces with Infinite, but that's it, right? A lot is represented versus like Street Fighter 6, where it's like you have guest characters, but like the Street Fighter side is poorly balanced. Poorly balanced. Whereas like Sonic actually has something from almost every era out of the gate, and then they add even more stuff with DLC. It's like Capcom DLC fixes the poor ratio, versus like Sonic never had a poor ratio to begin with and is adding on top of that. That's why people are crying about guests and Street Fighter 2 and shit, because the roster is poorly balanced. There's only 4 DLC characters in the year, and we are getting guests before fixing the shitty ass ratio. That's part of the disappointment. But Tifa is awesome. Terry is awesome. I prefer Blue Mary, and Ingrid's awesome. Does Ingrid have anything to do with Tifa being in Season 4? The answer is yes. Okay. At present, there are no plans to add new mechanics to the game. Honestly, I felt that adding any more mechanics would make the game too complex. They elaborate further in the interview. too complex. We released it in a state where the mechanics are already quite refined, so we aren't really planning to add new systems at this stage. That said, we are conducting various experiments. Still, I wonder if there's anything we could potentially add down the line. So they're not excluding the possibility of new mechanics, but it feels locked down. This is a W. This is a W. I feel like adding more mechanics will make the game too complex. This is a W. This is an L. Drive parry and drive rush are really bad. Are too strong. I won't call them refined, honestly. They're too strong. So strong that like a lot of the character specific quirks get shut down by just like being able to do like 1 or 2 system mechanics. Like drive parry like negates fireball, high low left right mix. Let me zoom in so you don't see the fucking bottom. It has no flaw or downside that separates it from other types of blocking. Oh, drive parry? Oh, you cannot throw tech. You also cannot throw tech on perfect parry or the drive parry recovery block. Like being able to block during the recovery of a drive parry, but you cannot throw tech. You cannot do it in burnout. Yes. You also cannot perfect parry on burnout. Blocking is inherently worse in burnout. All of its flaws, in one way or another, are shared with other types of block. There's no unique downside to drive parry, which is bad when perfect parry is so fucking strong that messing up doesn't get you punished. If you mess up a perfect parry, you're like, oh, okay, I got a drive parry instead. Whereas in other games, if you mess up like a perfect block, you get the undesired outcome. Like for example, right? Just Defend in Guilty Gear in City of the Wolves, right? It negates shit. If you mistime it, you get just regular blocking. Regular blocking is not good when you're trying to avoid chip. Like contextually, like when blocking is really bad to do, suddenly it adds a lot more risk to fucking up a Just Defend. And in other games, the risk of fucking up a parry exists through the more difficult parry being a complete opposite of blocking. So for example, in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, you tap forward to parry instead of tapping back to block. Paper Mario, you guard with the A button, but you super guard with the B button. In Smash Ultimate, you hold block to block, but if you let go of the button, there's a small window where you can perform a perfect shield, right? It's like opposite inputs and a punishment for fucking it up. And what makes drive parry very toxic is that none of those exist. It's really bad. Really, it's too strong. Like it needs to be nerfed. And of course, drive rush, right? Like instantly getting into CQC range, which contributes to the game feeling like an endless game of rock paper scissors. Overall, like makes the game like less fun to play. It's very fun when like both players are in burnout and we're trying to do shit using our own tools, because in burnout the drive mechanics are turned off. So like when we're both in burnout, we're trying to do our own shit, like cancel like a medium into a special, or we're trying to like use a fireball zone, but they jump over your head and you fucking die, but you anticipate the jump. Right, it feels really good to play when burnout. The moment you go back to regular state, it's like, yeah, GG's. Street Fighter 6 producer explains why Season 4 has so many new characters. First, we haven't released any completely new characters since autumn following the game's launch. A.K.I, who's like a student of Fang, but I do not call her a successor because they share very little other than like low snake double kick, or the poison mechanic. And even then, A.K.I's poison mechanic has a lot more to it by introducing poison-specific crush counters. So adding new characters was a priority, fair. Street Fighter 5 has new characters. Rashid, Laura, Fang, and Nakali. And then after that, Season 1 was just like old characters. And then Season 2 was like Akuma, and 5 characters that have never touched a Street Fighter game. Second, to strengthen the Street Fighter brand, not just Street Fighter 6 specifically, but the franchise as a whole, we felt that introducing new characters was essential. And finally, the demographic of Street Fighter 6 has skewed much younger. Core player base used to be in the 35 to 40 age range. The largest segment is now between 15 and 25. We wanted to support these players by offering them a fresh experience, one where they can play with a sense of novelty and relate to the characters on their own level. That is the reasoning behind our strategy to bolster the roster with new characters. Nothing wrong with introducing new characters. The problem is, the rate in which prior characters appear in new games is really bad. Like, Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5. Only one Street Fighter 4 character made it in, Jury. Even Street Fighter 6 was better at that by having both Jury and C. Viper. Street Fighter 5 to Street Fighter 6, it's just Rashid and Ed. A.K.I I consider her a brand new Street Fighter 6 character. I don't even consider her fun. A potential problem with the new about having like brand new characters is when Street Fighter 7 comes around, they get discarded or treated like shit like every other game that's not Street Fighter 2. Capcom should like actually start balancing their rosters instead of dick sucking Street Fighter 2 for the billionth time. The reason we want to create Arjun is something we discussed with the producer, and it stemmed from the fact that the number of users in India have been increasing. Street Fighter series will celebrate its 40th anniversary next year, but we haven't had that many characters of Indian origin have appeared in the series. The first thing I thought of as a counter to Dalsim was Dark Yoga, but as I was working on it, I realized, what does Dark Yoga even mean? Whereas Dalsim uses yoga to stretch his very small limbs, Arjun will be like the counter to that. He will inflate. So you'll have like a different type of like wonky hitboxes and hurtboxes. Development staff also love World Tour, so we're eager to create it. However, due to various circumstances, it became a little more difficult than we hoped. On the other hand, we think World Tour played a certain role in serving as entry points to fighting games and acting as a tutorial. Yeah. Can you tell us about the fighting styles of each character? Yes, Mean's specialty is coarse quarters combat using knives. She uses a martial art that she learned from her grandfather, which is based on Eskrima and other styles. Yeah, Eskrima being like the short staff fighting style. Mr. Big also uses it. Arjun is a character who uses breathing techniques. Tifa is a martial artist based on fighting techniques from the original games. There are still some parts that haven't been revealed yet, as it is still far into the story, but she is a character who will use techniques that are typical of Final Fantasy. Now I have to research FF7, like the remakes, to see if, and it's possible there are some special moves and limit breaks introduced in Revelations that will be in a Street Fighter 6 moveset. Bosch's movements are also slightly different from what he appeared on the World Tour. He makes full use of nice shell fighting techniques. And he's a character with some fun and playful elements. Oh shit. People aged 15 to 25 make up over 70% of the player base. Tifa also has a materia system. So if I ever make a moveset showcase for Tifa, it would just be her special moves, her limit breaks, and then like explaining how materia works, using Final Fantasy VII Remake as a reference. Do you have any plans for additional costume? Of course. I cannot go into details. Okay, spoilers, right? Like, costume 2s are the most obvious things ever, and then costume 3 are kind of special. So my prediction is costume 2 is Advent Children, obviously. And then costume 3 is gonna be, it can literally be anything. It could be like one of the Sector 6 dresses, based on one of the personality quirks you pick at the very start of the game determines the kind of outfit she wears in the Sector 6 mansion. Or it could be Costa del Sol, or it could be an alternate costume in Revelations, the game they're trying to promote. And then obviously Drive Tech Wear, everyone has that. Dude, Costa del Sol will print money, dude. Dude, like, a little extra, because I forgot to record this part. Street Fighter 6 wants to have a 10-year life cycle. So we're not getting Street Fighter 7 until 2033 minimum. I personally want Street Fighter 6 to be running and operating for as long as possible. When we initially kicked off the project, our internal goal was hit the 10-year life cycle. But that's why we're working so hard to improve the quality of the game and to make sure that the characters we introduce are attractive and appealing. And a question regarding Street Fighter 7, that's not something we're really thinking about right now. We're seeing a lot of new players coming into the game right now, and we want to continue catering to that particular audience. So Street Fighter 6 and maintaining its longevity is the main focus. It's an IGN quote. Honestly, 10 years of a particular game depends on the state of the game. People are excited, people are concerned, people are dooming. Really, if you told me Street Fighter 4 for 10 years, I'm like, awesome. But if you told me right now Street Fighter 6 for 10 years, it would depend on a lot of things. 10 years of the current state of the game, fuck no. But 10 years, like, say the new balance patch, they actually do their fucking job. And they nerf drive rush, drive parry, and actually like balance the game and give characters like actual strengths and weaknesses instead of like homogenizing the entire cast. 10 years of an actual game would be really good, right? It's just they have to fix that game to make those 10 years feel good. You don't want to like fix the game on year 9 instead of like year 5. Because it would mean we're in the trenches for like almost 10 years and then they're finally fixing the game at the end, right as the new game's about to come out, and we're in the trenches for even longer. We don't want that. You want to fix the game earlier so we can enjoy the later years better. That's it for like the content interviews. There's quite a bit. A lot of questions have been and answers have been like repetitive across all 4. Some interviews have like exclusive tidbits. We get to learn some stuff here and there. Reading some of them. The 70% number was surprising. I didn't know it popped off that much. We're gonna look at the final interview, which is completely different from the other ones. Famitsu's interview with Naruhiro Tsujimoto, CEO of Capcom, bringing esports into real sports, proposing more exciting team competitions. One of the biggest topics in recent years have been the rise of esports, especially Street Fighter 6. I get the impression that esports scene revolves around fighting games. What are your thoughts? Feel like we've reached a certain level of popularity in terms of gaining momentum. Due to legal issues, it was not possible to hold prize money tournaments in Japan for a long time, so in the early days, it was mainly done in the United States as a marketing measure to popularize titles. We had to do something about that, so we established the Japan Esports Association to address the issue. Even back then, what I thought was that esports needed to become something that could be done not only as a competition but also as a business, just like real sports. It needs to be promoted in the same way as professional sports like baseball and soccer. There's a flaw with that. I'll get to it. That's why I propose introducing team competitions like a Street Fighter League. When it comes to esports, America is definitely the heartland. I'm thinking about refining the American League once again. The reason Japan has been so successful is because its training system has been successful. And famous players emerge one after the other. Yeah, okay, so everyone has their qualms about the system mechanics, the fighting mechanics, but like the single player is really good and the quality of life is the best in fighting game history. That's why people are playing Street Fighter 6. The quality of life is so fucking good that like anyone that fucks with the mechanics can like hop on and play. That being said, Capcom does not have a native DX11 version of Street Fighter 6. Like other games do. Like if I type -DX11 launch option on Steam, City of the Wolf runs like shit after a while, but the DX11 version exists. There's a DX11 Resident Evil 2 remake. There's a DX11 Rivals of Aether 2. There's no DX11 Street Fighter 6. I literally cannot play the game. We need to properly train players in America as well. In Japan, we've been able to hold tournaments, Ario Kokugikan. So since we're doing it in America, I'd like to eventually hold a tournament at Madison Square Garden for the finals of Capcom Cup 12 and World Championships. Wait, no. For the finals of Capcom Cup 12, we tried paid streaming, something that exists in real sports like baseball and soccer. But while we had many purchased domestically, the numbers overseas were sluggish. One of the reasons. Okay. So in the fucking High Fight tweet, they said he cited time zone difference as a major reason, but he said one of the reasons is time difference. Which, yeah, man. Yeah, that's totally why PPV failed. The fucking time difference. That is a factor, but I don't think the time difference is why you skip the tournament. Time difference is not the reason why people didn't buy a Street Fighter PPV. Multiple reasons. System mechanics, poor character balance, both contributing to a poor watch experience. And there's also the belief that like people shouldn't pay for esports like viewership. That's accepted in Japan, but if you that's the problem with primarily looking at sports and not esports when promoting your esport thing, is that literally any other esport, Tekken World Tour, Arc World Tour, SNK World Championships, fucking VC, LoL Worlds, Dota 2 majors, CSGO majors, it's free to watch. It's literally free to, you can literally just free to watch. You have to pay to get in the venue, but it's free to watch if you're on Twitch or YouTube, depending on if they offer like dual stream. But it's like they were watching tournaments for free for so long that being told you have to PPV to watch the final match will hurt their desire to keep up with the entire year. I've come to realize once again that holding tournaments in America in real time will lead to global support. I'm telling you right now, like yes, like if you host a tournament in America, then esports viewership in America will improve for people who buy it already. People who believe they don't want to pay for esport shit when every other esport is free to watch will either like hop on a Discord watch party or not watch at all. Like the problem with PPV is simply the American esports culture, not the sports culture. And even then, $10 for top 16. It used to be 40. Sports that do PPV stuff, it will be like a bundle of matches for like $20 a month. $40 for top 16 is expensive. $60 for top 16 in Street Fighter League, when non-advertised sports network give you a bundle of matches for $20 a month, is fucking insane. Like, what the fuck? Regarding Street Fighter 6, while building upon the previous game's adaptation to esports, the new characters are designed in a modern style. My only request is that they avoid any sexual depictions. This is because I was confident that fans would accept the existing characters if they were simply portrayed as having aged naturally, without excessive exaggerations. Street Fighter 6 is a result of everyone considering what kind of game project is suitable for esports. That's why it has grown into a title supported by so many people. This line has been misinterpreted on social media. If you look at Street Fighter 5, there are characters with revealing costumes. There are some characters with some proportions. But the only thing that got censored for esports was the Armika butt slap on her super. Like, the camera goes off screen when she does it now. While the Armika costume is still allowed at tournaments, mind you, outside of certain regions. Clearly, it's not the costume that's the problem. The problem is excessively exaggerated, like, motions or depictions. Okay, here's the thing. Let's go back to the fucking PPV shit. Right, so in Street Fighter 5, they didn't have 1 million prizes for first place. Instead, they had crowd-funded esports DLC. You buy a DLC pack, you get one stage, and that's going to be the esports stage for the year. You get like 2 costumes. All proceeds would go to the Capcom Cup pot. Street Fighter 6 has so far every single year a $1 million prize with 0 crowdfund DLC. So they're losing a lot more money doing that, which is why they do the PPV shit. The problem is, like, again, in esports, people don't want the PPV shit. If you want people to put money on esports, you have to compensate them in some way, right? Like, there's an exclusive EX color if you buy the $10 PPV. It's like a blue Rashid. Make the blue Rashid $10 and add to the pot. Like, yes, I put money on, like, I bought this alt so you watch Capcom for free. That's it for 5 different interviews. This video is an hour long. Like, the recording is an hour long. I'll probably cut it down to like a handful of, I'll probably cut it down to like 30 minutes. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice day.